It's been a little while since I've last casted a best-of-7 series in StarCraft 2. So that's what I've got for you today. It's time for a Terran versus Zerg, a Korean special, because first off, in the top left-hand corner of map number 1, playing here with the red Terran SCVs, we have ByuN. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Zerg drones, he goes by the nickname of Solar. Alrighty, so these two recently played a best-of-7 series. What? GLHF, shut up. Wait, Solar is the one apologizing? Alright, then. Anyways, generally speaking, the Koreans, they get along very well. But this is juicy. Thank you, by the way, Mr. ByuN, for giving me an excellent screenshot for this video thumbnail. I appreciate that. Sometimes I cast a series, especially if it's like relatively quote-unquote normal, right? The strategies aren't very extreme. They're strategies that we've seen before. Sometimes it can be difficult to come up with a title and a thumbnail. But hey, I think that Mr. ByuN just made that a heck of a lot easier. Both of these players definitely well aware of one another. They're obviously, well, I'm assuming at the very least, you know, they're good friends, because otherwise that would be a little bit toxic. Because of that, I'm assuming also that they are well familiar with one another's playstyle. Obviously, they've faced off against each other many times before. Let me actually try and pull up the statistics real quick. Ligalek keeps track of all of the games that these two have ever played. Now, I want to make sure that I don't spoil myself for this particular match. But involving players ByuN and Solar, how many matches have these two played against each other? 188 maps were won by ByuN, 184 were won by Solar. So yeah, they're basically going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth when it comes to matches, and they've literally played hundreds of tournament games. Of course, they must have played, well, at least a similar amount as well on the ladder, and probably even more than that in custom games too. So it's probably fair to assume that these two have probably, yeah, they've probably played, if I were to make a guess, about 1,000 games against one another. There you go. Final answer. Final answer. I'm locking it in. Don't even need my helpline for this one. ByuN decided to go for a command center right here on the low ground as his very first structure after the supply depot. This is already one of those very greedy openers, because now he's also not actually walling off the top of this ramp. So if the Overlord would have flown straight in the direction of the ramp, Solar probably would have panicked. He may not have spotted the CC on the low ground at that point either, and obviously ByuN is very keen and very well known to build those barracks on the other side of the map instead. This is an incredibly greedy opener. Like, look at this, for just a moment. ByuN has decided to go for a single Marine after a CC first, and now is going double add-ons, all the while not walling off the top of his ramp. This is the exact opposite of what you want to be playing on the ladder, okay? Don't play this on the ladder. Terrible idea. Unless, again, you are well familiar with the opponent and you know that this is something you get away with, or you can get away with, but generally speaking, I don't recommend it. What this does allow ByuN, though, is a ridiculous amount of units by the time that he actually goes for an attack. So usually whenever we see Terrans going for an opener like this, they will go for a push right around the same time as Stimpack finishes up. And because of all of this early game greed, normally you have about 16 Marines by the 5-minute mark. Usually, yeah, 5 minutes, 10 seconds or so. You have about 16 Marines. We'll have to keep an eye out on exactly the amount of Marines that ByuN can get away with in this particular game here. Anyways, what has Solar been up to? Well, Solar doing Solar things, and that's the reason why ByuN opened up so greedily. Yeah, just opening up with the gold standard of Zerg. This is a triple hatch opener, making a bunch of queens, getting Zergling speed, pulling 2 drones out of gas. He could have definitely punished his opponent here if he would have known, but of course, he didn't. That does make the defense a little bit trickier, though. So say, for example, he knew at this point that it would be more than likely a double medevac opener with Stimpack. He would expect about 16 Marines at like 5 minutes and 20 seconds or so on his side of the map, right? And it is going to be an opener like that. But yeah, we're significantly ahead of time, and ByuN is already coming up on 16 Marines. Normally, once Zerg figure this out, well, once Zerg players rather figure this out, they will make roughly about 30 Zerglings to counter this opener. I'm curious to see how many... Okay, well, now it's well known, I guess, what he's going up against. Curious to see, though, the amount of units that will actually be coming out of the Zerg player right here. Yeah, so the first group of Marines has already moved out. They're going to be followed up with the reinforcements here in just a moment as soon as these medevacs pop. This is an excellent opener, actually. Yep, so these units boost out, and they're going to join up with the rest of the forces over here in the middle of the map. Okay, so we're at 16 links right now. He cannot go back to droning yet. Okay, it's important that Solar continuously makes units here. It's very easy to just look at your Zergling count and be like, okay, I've got X amount of queens, I've got X amount of Zerglings, this is exactly what I need against the standard opener, and then you find that your opponent made a little bit more. He's actually now making a ton of links. Okay, he's reading this correctly. Where are we going, ByuN? ByuN created all of this flavor in the early game, and then he ran to... You really wanted to inspect that mineral line in particular. There's no way there's a 4th base coming up at that point, so... A little bit funky. Okay, well, I'm hyping up this build. Wasn't really that successful. Although, there is a, Stimpak followed up right now with the combat shield research. So maybe what ByuN is looking to do is actually go for a follow-up attack. This may be him... You know what? Let me do the caster thing. This may be him feigning weakness only to slap his opponent in the face harder here in just a moment. Huh? That's a good caster thing. All right, that's pretty good. He killed literally like 1 creep tumor. And I guess, well, he killed a bunch of Zerglings too, but I guess he forced out a lot of links. But at this point, I'm sure that Mr. Solar is happy where he's at economically. He's gonna go for the 4th hatchery now. 3rd CC is about halfway done, but definitely not a bad start here for Solar, all things considered. But there has to be a point where ByuN is actually gonna pull the trigger, right? And if it wasn't with attack wave number 1, it has to be with attack wave number 2. Now, this is a bit of a funky one. Yeah, we're now at nearly 40 Marines, 3 siege tanks, 3 medevacs. This is a very large army, and bailing speed is still like a minute away from finishing. A ByuN special once again. Or as they call it, a ByuN-believable build. Ha! I made the joke. Now nobody in the comment section can make that joke. Literally every single ByuN cast I do, there's someone posting ByuN. Now you gotta delete the comment. Okay, no, never mind. Don't delete comments. It's good for the algorithm. Just keep them there. Kill on the hatchery, it looks like, actually. A lot of Zerglings were setting themselves up for a surround. Ooh, thought for a second that the Baneling Nest would be enraged. That would be a disaster. Well, Bane Speed is going to finish up. Solar is setting up a surround right now. Is he really going to pull the trigger, though? Yeah, he is. He's going to try and clean this up. Good targeting with the siege tanks as well. Micro Jackson trying his best to keep all of these units alive, and eventually... Okay, they're going to have to get on out of here. Maybe a bit of an overextension right there from ByuN. Probably should have gone home after he denied the 4th hatch. Speaking of which, new one coming up right here at the 3 o'clock position. Armory at the appropriate timing. Double upgrades here are going to continuously roll out 2-2 and then also 3-3 eventually, I believe. And yeah, ByuN definitely not in a bad spot, but considering all this greed that he went for in the early game, didn't really pay off. Nice, killing a bunch of creep tumors, denying the creep. One problem with expanding towards the 3 o'clock position here for Solar is the fact that the bases of the Terran are really not that far away. There's a good chance the Terran's going to expand up here, and then suddenly you're really quite close to each other. Now, this is a lot of dead space, so at the very least, it's not like they can march straight through the center of the map, but usually expanding away is the Zerg's preference. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Mark. I've seen that once in a cinematic before. They should make a storyline about that, about like a ghost being abandoned at New Gettysburg by the Terran pickup. Helmsman! Signal the fleet. I think that's what he says. Anyways, you can't do this, Arcturus. +2/+2 coming up here for ByuN. Whenever you have the choice as a Terran player to go for one of the 2 upgrades, attack is always better for Marines. Anyways, ByuN apparently playing his heart out here. Probably spending as little time looking at those upgrades as possible. Yeah, ByuN is always out on the map, right? And I love this about watching his gameplay. Oh, he's gonna get the infestation pit. No cancel. Yeah, I love this about ByuN's gameplay. He's just so aggressive, always in the opponent's face, continuously moving forward. Brenda over here is gonna get... Whoa, she made a little hop, but she's gonna get the knight for sure. A little bit of damage being done, and ByuN is starting to run circles around Solar. That being said, Solar still has a good economy. He hasn't really lost anything critical. And he's now transitioning towards the Hydroling Bane playstyle. So +2/+1 coming up here as well for him. Yeah, he's just trying his best to make a good economy to eventually overwhelm this. And even though he's taken a little bit of damage, nothing of it has really been of significance. Opting to not go for a lurker den just yet. It's kind of interesting. By the way, it's a best of 7. I did say that, right? There you go. Professional gamer. Professional commentator. I forgot to set up the scoreboard. Okay, here we go. This is apparently where Solar decides to pull the trigger. Very aggressive move over here, though. Excellent micro here. Ooh, by the Terran player. Move it off creep. Yeah, nicely done. Microing back those units, and that was expensive. If 2 of those banelings would have connected there with that big ball of Terran bio, that would have looked a hell of a lot better here for ByuN, but not the case. Or for Solar, rather. Right now, it ended up looking pretty damn good right here for ByuN. It's a very messy cast so far, isn't it? It's okay. I think it's okay anyways. The reincarnations of Jimmy and... Oh, never mind. Couple of Zerglings here, threatening our run-by into the natural. Not really dealing a lot of damage, though, even though the door was wide open. Yeah, ByuN is really, really aggressive, not just with the unit positioning, but also with, like, the speed at which he attacks. He's just parked out here. Like, these guys should have brought, like, tents and sleeping bags and, I don't know, maybe bring a couple of... I don't know, it's just dangerous because now the rest of that army, yeah, of the Zerg is gonna go to the other side of the map. Solar has already given the base up for dead. Try to, okay, deal with this army here with some reinforcements, but this is still looking excellent here, though, for ByuN. The main question is, how exactly is he going to deal with these Zerglings? A lot of SCVs are dealing damage, or a lot of Zerglings, rather, are dealing damage to the SCVs. Third hatchery goes down. Somehow the 4th base is still up and running. ByuN microing his heart out over here on the other side of the map. GG is cold. And despite the SCV losses, it's ByuN who obtains the victory in game number 1. Alrighty. Game 2. We find ourselves on Tropical Sacrifice. ByuN decides to start off this game with a pretty quick SCV. Okay, there is going to be a second one as well. That does mean that ByuN is planning on doing a little bit of proxy shenanigans. This is something that he loves to do. I mean, especially in a best of 5 and in a best of 7. No! Bro, he got... ByuN! To be fair, that Carrack was quite literally blocking the positioning right there of the barracks, because I think he probably wants to put the second one, well, yeah, close to this location to reduce surface area, but that was unnecessary, man. There's a good chance you could have trapped him. Can't believe killing the Carrack was part of the build order. That's really kind of mean. Oh, there's the third one even showing up as well. All right. This is now essentially a complete all-in here for ByuN. I mean, obviously you can deal a lot of damage and then try to, you know, play macro on the back of it, but 9 times out of 10 Terran players in this scenario want to try and finish the game within the next 3 minutes. Overlords at this point are moving around. Careful, Mr. Dog. You might be next. You never know, dude. ByuN is a maniac. Problem here is that, yeah, Solar's going to find it, but he's going to find it after the barracks are done. So now he sees it. What exactly are you going to do? Ideally, you do figure out, by the way, if it's a third barracks. Yeah, so that's what he's trying to do right now. He's trying to go to that next pillar right over there. This OV is going to chill on that pillar right over there. One drone has been pulled down towards the low ground already to try and make sure that there's not a bunker going up, but yeah, it's going to need a little bit of help. How good is the micro from Solar going to be? You can't really treat a triple Rex opener as a double Rex opener, so things are becoming a little bit spicy. Still has not quite seen the third barracks either. Zerglings are coming up, Spinecrawlers coming up, Queens are, well, currently being birthed by the hatchery. And yes, that's actually what it's called. If you hover over the Queen button, when you select a hatchery, it literally says Birth Queen. Nice little wrap around here, though. Just wanted to make sure that you didn't think I was weird. Or, you know, weirder than I already... Anyways. This is not good for Solar. This is really bad for Solar. The Spinecrawler finishes up eventually, but already 7 drones have gone down. And that bunker is done, right? So, like, it should be very difficult for Solar to macro his way out of this, and he's by no means done defending this, yeah. GG is called again, and ByuN wins a very quick game number 2. Next up, we find ourselves on Data C, and ByuN is once again being a very cheeky boy. Solar is not responding, though. In all games of this series so far, he would have been in an excellent position if he decided to go for an aggressive opener. There are quite a few Zerg openers that are really good. You can go for the blind roach opener, for example. Very powerful stuff. You can go for a 7 roach opener. Also has a lot of potential. You can do even a Zergling rush, right? I mean, the 12 pool is not particularly great against Terran normally, but in the games that ByuN is playing so far in the series, would have been an excellent choice. Solar, though, is probably not really thinking of that. He's probably thinking, okay, you know what? I messed up with my response. I messed up with my follow-up. Wasn't really the early game that was the problem. I mean, I guess it was in the previous game, but it wasn't the start, the strategy that he decided to pick with the hatch into the gas geyser, into the spawning pool. It was the drone control and the Zerglings there. So, yeah, it's nice to be flexible. And I think that's what ByuN is very good at. Whipping out build orders very specifically for opponents rather than for matchups is really it's really a significant difference, right? Like, I love to see the players actually adjust their strategies depending on who they're playing against. And I can guarantee you if this was ByuN going up against Bly, right? There's no way. He would not be pulling out this craziness. Now, admittedly, at least in my mind, they are in a bit of a different skill level, right? Or ByuN would probably just be forced to play a very safe game because he can probably win in the long run. But anyhow, pretty much an identical build to what we saw in game number 1. Okay. No, he's not going to get it. Poor little Zergling. No raft to save it, but it's now floating to the surface of Data C. I'm not exactly sure how far down we are right here on this map, but must be quite a ways, huh? Gravity has returned to normal levels. Maybe we're not on planet Earth. You know what? It does look a little bit earthy, but we could probably figure it out, right? Considering the plant life and everything. Looks a bit spacey, right? A little bit sci-fi, but anyway. Wonder if ByuN is gonna do the execution any different in this game. Wonder if Solar is going to react against this differently in this game as well. So creep spread is absolutely critical. He has seen the lack of Hellions at this point. I don't know if he's seen any additional Marines other than just the conventional ones that you normally see. Well, he's gonna find out right now. This is ByuN moving sooner than he really normally does, though. Okay, you know what? Yeah, Solar is not taking the bait. So even though Solar just saw a bunch of Marines moving out, he's like, no, I know there's no way that this is going to be the actual attack just yet. So he just held down the drone button. Yeah, he's going to need to make a couple of links. But he's already at 51 workers, which is excellent for him. Okay, if he starts non-stop unit production right now, you should be A-okay against this push. Usually Zergs want to start up link production at about 4:30. And that's, yeah, pretty much precisely, look at this. Pretty much precisely what Solar ended up doing here. Here come the medevacs, bring in the reinforcements. Good amount of Marines already available. May only be a couple more than what we normally see, but those couple matter, okay? And it actually does, yeah, require you to respect it quite a bit more. Overlord trying to scout whatever's happening here, but he already knows what's happening. Always nice to get confirmation, though. This time around, a bit of a YOLO drop towards the main base, which is funny because he made all of those Marines. Working out really well, though, but he made all of those Marines and these guys are not part of the battle. Spawning pool is being attacked. That's bad. That's really bad. So, spawning pools allow him to make spine crawlers, Zerglings, spore crawlers, queens, lair, basically everything that Solar at this point has available. Yeah, so now I guess he's making drones again, because there's not a whole lot else he can do. But it does make things a little bit greedy. Okay. At least he finished the lair. So Bailing speed is coming up. He's going to go double upgrades as well, I believe. Or at least a singular upgrade for now. This could actually be kind of scary, though. If ByuN uses this. I think a lot of Terrans don't quite realize how long it actually takes for the spawning pool to remake. Like, it's you know, it's an early game structure, so usually you just kind of have it. But it's actually by no means a really fast structure to build. Anyways, Zerglings are coming up once again. Finally, that pool finished, so reinforcements are just about to arrive. ByuN wants to engage here. Good targeting once more, getting rid of those Banelings. Bailing speed obviously not done just yet. GG is just straight up cold as ByuN takes another excellent engagement. Match point already for Mr. ByuN. In order for Solar to obtain the victory, he's going to need to win 4 maps in a row. That is going to be a very steep hill to climb. Anyhow, Waterfall, the map with the shortest rush distance. Apparently, ByuN now believes that he's a Protoss player. The man's officially lost it as he decides to wall off the low ground instead. I've seen him do this before. It's actually quite strong if you pull it off correctly. But anyhow, is Solar going to make any adjustments here whatsoever? Nope. Yeah, no flexibility here in the early game by Solar at all. See, I'm not a huge fan of that. Even though I think this is overall the strongest Zerg opener, which is kind of ironic, right? I'm a fan of the opener itself, but I don't think I like it a whole lot in this particular series. Now, it's going to work out well in this particular case, because ByuN is going to be well walled in over here, although a 5 Roach opener could still do quite a bit of damage, I believe. But anyways, not entirely sure how that dynamic would work out, but yeah, Solar not showing a lot of flexibility, okay? Not doing his morning stretches. Certainly no yoga whatsoever. He's not hanging upside down in one of those, you know, whatever those exercise machines are called that are supposed to be good for your back. He's doing none of that, okay? Solar's probably just like me, a serious case of nerd neck, where you just, you know, you just tilt closer and closer and closer to your monitor as the years go by. Not a good situation, actually. Should probably start doing some more stretches for that. But anyways, I don't really stretch a whole lot myself, I'll be honest with you. There was a time during the Rona years that I was doing a lot of yoga. And after like 2 years of pretty much doing it every day, I was still essentially a plank. Okay, maybe slightly less of a plank. But yeah. Anyway. Maybe I should get back on that, huh? Probably not a bad idea. I felt pretty good doing it. Anyway. Let's see. Reaper is gonna show up. Would you look at that? A Reaper. This is the unit that ByuN single-handedly got nerfed all those years ago. He was too good at controlling Reapers, and people just didn't know how to play against it anymore. So Blizzard looked at it, and they were like, you know what? With the new balance changes, we're doing a pretty significant overhaul. Let's also make sure that the Reapers are no longer gonna just be a life-threatening opener here. I mean, they can still be, I guess, but this is Solar just getting pummeled right now. That was so unnecessary. Just the one shot right there at the drone did absolutely nothing other than intimidate Mr. Solar. By the way, Reapers have a nice T on their back. You see that? Hey, turn around. Okay, I can't see it anywhere. But they've got like the letter T right over there at the back of their... Yeah, you see that? I think the T stands for Terran or Terrazine. And the T is for Terrazine. Anyways, starport coming up. Solar just opening up as standard as possible. This time around, though, we have again a bit of a funky opener right here from ByuN. There's one Hellion coming up. I'm not sure exactly what the Hellion's gonna be for. Yeah, second Hellion, I guess. ByuN is very free-flowing, right? With the way that he plays. It almost seems like ByuN just puts down a bunch of structures and he's like, what shall I make out of you today? Now we went for the switcheroo. So this makes very little sense, because at this point you could easily be at 6 Hellions. So, wait, it's... So ByuN right here is showing Solar the timing at which those Hellions are coming out. He showed one of them, and then he showed a second one. That means he's going for a delayed Hellion opener, and he's not really committing to Hellions very much. However, he then decided to switch over the factory onto the reactor, meaning he can start pumping them out two at a time, and now he decided to go for an armory that will allow those Hellions to morph into Hellbats. It makes very little sense, but it might just work. It shouldn't, though. Oh my god, cloaking field coming up as well for Banshees. That's so late. Yep, here's the Hellbats. The Reaper's still alive, by the way. He's microing that one continuously. Okay, Ovi goes down, a couple creep tubers get killed. I don't think this is going to really deal significant amounts of damage, but honestly, it's hurting quite a bit. Okay, now the Zerglings are trying to come in, but there's two more Hellions that just showed up. Okay, Mr. ByuN, maybe we're getting a little bit too creative. There's the Banshee. Oh, it's gonna join with the main army. Interesting. Third command center coming up very late here as well, and now additional barracks are building. Well, they're coming up right now anyways. A couple Hellions here apparently got driven into a group of Zerglings. This is dealing a good amount of damage. This is dealing more damage than I anticipated. The Queens were not in the right place at the right time, so now the units are suddenly here. Banshee decided to show up, just do a little bit of work, but this is a one-way trip now for these units, though. There's definitely no way that they're gonna go back home. ByuN! What is going on in this game? He created a couple of small cuts in the previous games on Solar's mindset, right? And now he's just, in this game over here, he's sprinkling in a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. Just to make him, you know, feel the pain. Yeah, this is a free-flowing build. Again, not something I recommend you play on the ladder because it's just not efficient. But it's certainly working against Solar here so far. Well, I say that. Yes, a lot of units ended up going down, but yeah, exactly. Like, the Terran also lost a lot of stuff there. So even though it's looked very dramatic, in the end, it doesn't really matter that much. Maybe these Hellions can achieve more than that entire group of units just did. Yeah, it's about the same amount. It's also because there's two Banshees now with Cloak going to town over here. Overseer is coming up. Transfusions on the Queen to try and keep it alive. Oh my god, ByuN! ByuN! Okay. So in the end, it's actually 18 workers. That is not the end of the world for Solar, but pretty sick. He's certainly thrown off of his game, though. Look at the creep spread here. The creep spread really is horrible for this stage in the game. Needs to start pushing that forward ASAP. Because obviously there's going to be those follow-up attacks, right? ByuN is likely going to start marching again at the absolute latest by the time that 1-1 upgrades finish up. I mean, this is ByuN, so there's a good chance he's going to start marching already, right now, just because he can. Hydroling Bane is going to be in a unit composition right here from Solar. That's nice. I like how ByuN just completely wings it in some of these games, or at the very least, that's what it looks like, right? I guess he doesn't. I'm assuming it's a little bit more practice than what it looks, but it certainly does feel like he's like, hey, I've got a tech lab. Oh, what happens if I put the tech lab on a I can make a Banshee? That's amazing. I'm going to make it right now. Because those Banshees were so late, but the anti-timings can still work out really nicely. Anyhow, bailing speed, not done yet. I feel like that's been a theme in every single one of these matches. 1-1, by the way, is done, and Terran's once again on the other side of the map. Zerg setting up a surround, though. He should not lose this fourth base this time around. Go, 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 go. Okay. The siege tank target firing is mental, right? So ByuN, while microing the Zerglings, also target fires the middle of the baneling clumps with the siege tanks. It looks minor, but it really does add up. That's why constantly those units just do not connect. Anyway, fourth base stayed alive. Another fourth base was already like the fourth base 2.0. Now the fifth base. Yeah, I already started building here on the right side of the map too. Maybe he's still scared of losing it here eventually. A lot of that has to do with the lack of creep though. If creep would have been in this area, yeah, these pushes would be hard to pull off. Now ByuN is going to start the multitasking as well. Threatening medevac drops on the left side of the map. There are a couple of those spore crawlers. While simultaneously going for an attack right here on the right. Yeah, ByuN is looking like he's in a different league in this series here. Solar is currently like the second best Zerg from Korea. But he is getting absolutely demolished in these games. There's the drop in the main base. He does not care about the... oh my god, I can't another spawning pool. Target firing on a couple of the Banes. Purposefully not picking up all the Marines just because, well, that means that you can blow up one more Baneling right there. Yeah, it's well worth it. One Baneling for a Marine is just fine for the Terran. That's 50 minerals, 25 gas for 50 minerals. It's an efficient trade. Okay, alright. Yeah, ByuN is still practicing hard, right? Even after all these years. Such a grinder. Like, generally, just grinding so many games, so many tournaments, all of the time. Does he have enough to break through this? Fourth base 2.0, aka the fifth, got the Knight. This expansion over here is still up and running, but it's absolutely critical. And ByuN is going up when it comes to the supply count, pumping out 11 Marines at once. Solar's been trying to go up to Lurker Tech in this series, but he's just not gotten there yet. GG, there it is. Just like that, it's ByuN who obtains the victory in this best-of-7 series 4-0. Hey, if you made it all the way until the end of this video, please take the 1 second that it takes to hit the like button down below. And of course, if you really liked it, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the little bell icon so you get notified as soon as future videos go live.